and industry leaders remain profoundly inadequate in securing a safe and just future for people across the globe. I was born Manuel Luis Jacinto on an island by the southeast coast of Asia, the Philippines. And for Filipinos, the climate emergency is a reality that we have been dealing with for some time now. For people across According to the Global Peace Index in 2019, the Philippines is the most susceptible country to hazards on an island by the southeast coast of Asia, the Philippines. 10 million Filipinos, the climate emergency is a reality that we have been dealing with for some time now. For people across the climate emergency is already aggravating the water situation in the Philippines is the most susceptible country to hazards on an island by the southeast coast of Asia, the Philippines. Here, another Filipinos, the climate emergency is a reality that we have been dealing with for some time in the northern Philippines. The climate emergency is already aggravating the water situation in the Philippines is the most susceptible. They are also on an island by the southeast coast of Asia, the Philippines. Here, another Filipinos, the climate emergency is a reality that we have been dealing with for some time in the northern Philippines. The climate emergency is already aggravating the water situation in the Philippines. Climate emergency susceptible. They are also on an island by the southeast coast of Asia, the Philippines. Here, another Filipinos, the climate emergency is a reality that we have been dealing with for some time in the northern Philippines. The climate emergency is already aggravating the water situation in the Philippines. Landmark is set to year and also on an island by the southeast coast of Asia, the Philippines. Now it's more climate emergency is rising. Climate is acting as a reflect the climate emergency is already aggravating the water situation in the Philippines. Landmark is set to year and also on an island by the southeast coast of Asia, the Philippines. Now it's more climate emergency is rising. Transportation choices. We cannot be taken in by this deflection campaign and must push for policy reform. Now, all of us here will make those lifestyle choices, but it is the policy and the corporate practices that will drive this systemic change and provide a voice for those most susceptible to climate impacts like the Philippines. So for Filipinos and numerous other communities who are in survival mode at the front lines of climate emergency, we thank you. And again, we please ask you to help us raise their voices. Thank you.
Thank you, Manny. Okay. Didn't get the memo. I'm here to introduce somebody, very excited. As a supermodel, Amber Valletta has been the face of top designers such as Giorgio Armani, Chanel, Prada, Valentino, Gucci, and Versace. That's a lot of fabulousness. She co-hosted the MTV show House of Style and has appeared in films such as What Lies Beneath, Hitch, The Spy Next Door, and the TV series Revenge, and Blood and Oil. Please welcome Amber Valletta.
I just want to thank Jane and all the activists that are here this morning, all of the people who've organized this, and all of you out here and all of you listening. The alarms are sounding. Can we hear them? Yes. Children are begging for us to do something about it. You all are begging for us all to take action. We're begging our governments. Animals are dying. Our plants, our species are dying. This is all by our hands. Are we hearing the alarm? Yes. Are we hearing the sound of our own hearts asking us to do something different, to wake up? Yes. We've got to wake up. We have to hit the streets. We have to wake our friends up, our family, our government. We have to stay awake. This is not a test. This is not a drill. This is real. Climate crisis is here. We have to protect the Clean Water Act, and we have to pass the Water Act. Water is a right, just like clean air. It isn't a choice, it is a right. It is not to be privatized. It is our right. We don't own what's coming out of the sky. There's the alarm. Fire Drill Friday, spread the word. Let's go.
Thank you, Amber.
I'm going to introduce Garrett Repenhagen, who is the son of a Vietnam veteran. And he's the grandson of two World War II veterans. He served in the U.S. Army as a cavalry scout sniper in the 1st Infantry Division. Completed a deployment in Kosovo and a combat tour in Iraq. Garrett gained an honorable discharge in 2005 and began working as a veterans advocate. He served as the chair of the board of Iraq Veterans Against the War and as vice president of public relations for the Nobel Prize winning Veterans for America. As a program director for Veterans Green Jobs and was the Rocky Mountain director for Vet Voice Foundation. He lives in Colorado, where he serves as the executive director for Veterans for Peace. And for me, Garrett is the perfect example of how activism can lift you out of pain and trauma and help you heal. Please welcome Garrett.
Thank you, everyone. You know, I live in Colorado, and in the West we have a saying that whiskey is for drinking and water is for fighting. After I joined the military 1 month before September 11th, I've done a lot of drinking of whiskey. I've done a lot of fighting. And most of that fighting was for the exploitation of other countries, mostly their natural resources, protecting the extraction and transportation of fossil fuels that have destroyed communities around the world. You know, I may have fought for oil in Iraq, but the next wars are going to be fought over water. The lack of resources of water are going to make the next future generation of Veterans for Peace members veterans of the Great Water Wars. You know, war is generally destructive to water. You know, in Iraq, I saw the demolition of infrastructure that helped get people clean water, destroying the infrastructure of waste systems that contaminated water systems, the pollution and contamination of chemicals and weapons into groundwater, into rivers that have destroyed communities. I fought in the Fertile Crescent that was nurtured by the Tigris and Euphrates River that is now too polluted to even swim in. Today, precious few can count on something so simple as just a cup of clean drinking water. Veterans for Peace has an Iraq water project where we're helping to deliver to communities with the assistance of some great organizations like Right for Relief and Development to get purification units, ultraviolet units, reverse osmosis units to communities in Iraq so they have clean drinking water. Most of these communities are hospitals, clinics, and schools. Veterans also made up a large contingent of water protectors at Standing Rock. You know, I want to mention that veterans, we take less of a risk than a lot of vulnerable communities when we become activists. Our privilege as military veterans protect us oftentimes from law enforcement, and we get better treatment in our legal systems. So I know we get a lot of credit for being there in Standing Rock and being in protests like this, but you're my hero. You take a lot more risks than I do when we step out into that street. It was really disheartening to see the militarization of our police force in Standing Rock, the use of private militias, the use of the National Guard against their own people. You know, we've got to fight. We've got to fight. And, you know, I was honored to be able to go up to the Arctic, where there's a war waging right now for our water. The Arctic National Wildlife Refuge is one of the most wild places I've ever been, and I was able to canoe for 12 days down the Canning River to the Beaufort Sea, from the Brooks Range to the Arctic Ocean. And you know, there's no better example or way to witness the destruction of our environment and our water supply than in that area. But on the front lines of that battle are the Gwich'in people. The Gwich'in Nation rely on the porcupine caribou herd for their lifestyle and their sustenance and existence. To them, this fight is not just an environmental battle. It is a human's right battle. It is a right to live. Yeah, you know, I wasn't going to mention this, but Jane really wanted me to. When I came home, I became very self-destructive. I was a sniper in Iraq. And because I perpetrated those crimes, I felt a heavy weight of grief and guilt. And finding my way into activism started to save my life. Repurposing myself and finding a new identity in the movement to serve this country in an honest way and protect my communities in a real way. That allowed me to start healing my moral injury. And if activism can save my soul, then activism can save the soul of this country. So let's band together. I'm so proud of you all.
I want to say one last thing. That was beautiful. Every person here represents 1 million people who can't be here for themselves. So thank you for turning out. And that goes true for everybody who's tuning in on Fire Drill Fridays as well, because everybody cares. Jessica Loya is a National Policy Director at Green Latinos, where she advocates for Latino communities' environmental conditions as it relates to federal politics and policy making. Currently, her focuses include public lands, waters, forests, climate, and youth career development opportunities. Jessica Loya.
Thank you so much. Okay. I am honored to be here today with you all. But first, I'd like to recognize that we stand here on the land of the Piscataway people. This may be our nation's capital, but this was the homelands of indigenous people who knew how to live in harmony with the land, to whom water is sacred. Communities across this country, indigenous communities, First Nation communities, Black communities, Latino communities, rural America communities are suffering. The water crisis is not in the future. The water crisis is now. It has been a crisis for generations. Environmental justice is necessary. Water is a human right. Water itself has rights. Nature has rights. We must be the activists, the speakers, the heart for those that cannot speak. For the communities like La Colonias in the Rio Grande Valley of Texas, who have been there for generations and to this day do not have water infrastructure. Today, I am asking you to demand justice. To demand justice for those communities, for you, for future generations. And so I'm gonna get us moving. It's cold, but we have the fight in us. We will not be deterred. So I'm gonna ask you to be with me in a call to action. Okay, a call and repeat. I'm going to say a word, and you say, deserves justice. Can we practice that as everyone? Ready? 1, 2, 3. Deserves justice. I deserve justice. You
deserve justice.
The people of Flint, Michigan.
Deserve justice.
The people of Newark, New Jersey.
Deserve justice.
The people of Las Colonias in Texas.
Deserve justice.
The Gwich'in people.
Deserve justice.
The people of Standing Rock.
Deserve justice.
Future generations.
Deserve justice.
Our land.
Deserve justice.
Our waters.
Deserve justice.
Our air.
Deserve justice.
Every living being.
Deserve justice.
Climate migrants.
Deserve justice.
Dreamers.
Deserve justice.
We are here to demand justice. We stand here in what some call the freest nation in the world. When there are people who are not free, people who fight for justice every day and do not see justice in their lifetime, and that will change. The climate crisis is a crisis of justice. Justice is on the line today. It is on the ballot. It is needed in the halls of Congress, in the halls of the Supreme Court, at your dinner tables during Thanksgiving, the farm workers that put your food and don't have access to running water deserve justice, and that is what we are here today. We must understand that this fight must be rooted in justice, and anything less than that is not enough. Thank you so much, and thank you to Jane. Thank you, Jane, for standing with us, for using your power to bring others with us.
Oh, what a fierce warrior. Okay. I just can't thank you enough for being here in the rain and staying here. We've got to do all we can to protect water. We need to see access to water as a human right, not a charity or luxury. Water is a public good, managed for public well-being, not a private commodity for profit, right? Invest in Green New Deal scale infrastructure projects that provide good union jobs to build the publicly owned water systems we need. Think of the great water pipes that can be installed by the guys that are now installing oil pipes and getting sick doing it. We've got new jobs for them. Oh. And so now we're going to go over and we're going to face the Supreme Court that are hearing cases now. Trump wants to roll back and weaken the Clean Water Act. And remember to follow Fire Drill Friday on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And to visit firedrillfridays.com on our upcoming teach-ins and rallies. God bless you all, and thank you so much for being here. Thank you. You were so good. Oh, my God.
Jane, you want to do a quick finger photo?
Yeah, Debbie.
Got my water.
I would think so. Nobody sat down.
Alright, speakers.
Yeah.
Can you come up front? There you go. Right here. Here, I got your Great. Ready? And everyone look in here.
Sure, belly button. Oh, thank you.
Thank
Let me get out.
Oh, so sorry. I was trying to get in front. Sorry.
We are on our way to this.
Excuse me, Jane. Can I get 30 seconds?
No, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Can I ask him to put us in touch? Yeah. Oh, great. Hot hand. But we want to do what we can to help out as well.
They're with you guys.
Yeah, honey, come on.
Do you want me to give this to?
Ellie, I got Eleanor. I got this.
All right.
You want to sneak out?
Garrett, come on and squeeze up. Let's all get close.
Garrett.
All right, Garrett. Come this way, Ira. Good.
Okay, let's go.
We need media to move back. We need to
Hey, Sam. What's the route? We're going that way? Okay. Follow me.
And head for the Supreme Court.
Look out, sir.
sir.
Sir, I'm sorry. Can you just go to the side?
Let's go.
I do.
Move back.
Oh, I'm sorry. You know what? Failed out of this location. Everything's, you know, I'll try and get over there. I'm right there. Just as a heads up to the noon show. Yeah, okay. Actually, I was handheld, but I have my sticks here, and I got to gather everything up. And yeah.
How you doing?
It's pretty tucked behind the thing about I don't mind
democracy looks like.
Scoot around this side. Heads up, guys. Heads up. Oh, sorry. Okay. Heads up, guys.
Sidewalk, please. Folks, on the sidewalk, please. Water is life! Water is life! Water is life! Water is life! You're gonna want to be right. Water is life! 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 Water is life!
He said they made the decision.
Water is life!
Guys, watch your backs. I'm sorry. That's okay.
And I know we have
I'm happy to be on the sidewalk. We gotta get these people on a shotgun. Everyone's gotta be on the sidewalk, right?
Okay, well, if you want to be arrested, stay in the street, okay?
Hey guys.
Because we're talking about water.
Do not touch me though.
Water justice! Water justice! Water justice!
They got it.
Water justice! Water justice! Water justice!
Third warning's been given. Step up on the sidewalk. Third warning, push him up on the sidewalk. All the way up.
Water is life! Water is life! Water is life! Water is
Do
life!
they know that's 3 warnings been given? Because there's a non-U.S. citizen that has one.
They were given the 3 warnings.
Water is life! 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 Water is
Coach, y'all need to back up.
We're on the clock, bud.
It's gonna probably come
Hey guys, can you lose Blue Umbrella over there? Yeah, like get him out of here.
They're choosing to stay there. Sorry.
Hey guys. Water is life. Water is life. Water is life. Water is life. Water is
Can I put up a tripod here? No, okay.
The waters are rising, and so are we. 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 Yes! The waters are rising, and so are we.
Amen.
And so are we. Demand a Green New Deal. Green New Deal. Yes!
Climate justice! Yes, Sebi!
What do we want?
Climate justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
Sebi!
Climate justice!
When do
Sebi!
we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Yes, Sebi!
What do we want? Water protectors who are out here putting their lives and body on the line. Show me what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like. Show me what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like. Justice in the air. What does democracy look like? This is what democracy looks like. Show me what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like. Show me what democracy looks
Take it to the streets! Take it to the polls! Take it to the streets! Take it to the polls!
We'll probably make a lap down.
No, they dropped it. But still, because again, we'll dig for it, what we don't want is a 30-year excess because that'll be a disaster. Yeah, she's out here.
Just a bit. Okay. Thank you very much.
Negative results. Yeah. Reach to a van.
At 348 or 349 to respond for the 911 surgery. Inside the court surgery, SB 08.
322. 322. Copy that. I will. Sir, be advised to reach.
You guys tell me what happens if it's too many times that Jane gets arrested. What's that thing?
Well, define too many times.
I don't know how many times Jane gets
It just depends. Sorry?
5 times?
Then she'll have to go to jail and see the judge in the morning.
Good jail and what else?
She'll see the judge in the morning.
Okay. I think somebody else told me that, like, if it's more than 3 times, then you're not allowed to enter the city again.
That I don't know.
If it's like more than 3 times in a year.
United will never be defeated. The people united will never be defeated. The people united will never be defeated.
And then the judge will give you some serious time, I guess. At least the rain backed off, you know? Gratuitous.
Lead us to the water, or you're leading us to slaughter. Lead us to the water, or you're leading us to slaughter. Lead us to the water, or you're leading us to slaughter. Lead us to the water, or you're leading us to slaughter. Lead us to the water, or you're leading us to slaughter. Lead us to the water, or you're leading us to slaughter. Lead us to the water, or you're leading us to slaughter.
Yeah, you still got like 2 officers back.
Who you with?
Next star.
I'm with
Grazie. Va bene. There's a lot of people. Thank you so much.
Yeah, we are.
Thank you. So how are you going to get back?
and then I'm taking the picture. She was I know, it has the same color.
Sorry, see you later, Jane. I'm going to California for a week.
Bye.
Sure. That's exactly what it was. Oh, don't. Okay. I'm sorry.
Jenny.
Bye, Anna. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye. You will. Bye. See you later.
Thank you so much. Now, ask her what she can do on her social media to help you. Sure. Just
Share.
I don't know.
Share.
At
Can you hear me?
FireMillFriday.com.
Yeah. Please. I'm so happy. You're the best. Thank you. Thank you, Jane.
Did you get it?
I don't know.
Just
Sure.
Yeah, here, if you stand here, you get the Capitol in the background.
Give hands one. I will.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you all for being here.
But everything else that you had to do, just turn it in tomorrow?
Yeah, just let me know and I'll send you a check or whatever.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you. Excuse me.
What?
Yeah, that was super.